For this test, the user is to put themselves in the shoes of a developer. The role of the developer would be to easily keep track of how popular their application is by adding a graph widget onto the dashboard. When the user first logs into that page, they would encounter an initially empty dashboard. Here, the users can also choose to click on the FAQ tab. The FAQ contains questions regarding commonly used functions such as how do I remove a metric from a graph, and can I swap the position of the widgets on the dashboard? From here onwards, if the user has any doubts as to what to click, they are able to click on the FAQ tab for an explanation of how things work. Alternatively, the user can choose to read through the FAQs first before starting on the task. For the first task, the user is to add a bar graph for the application MyENV with the data period set to 2nd July 2014 to 15 July 2014. The user first refers to the FAQ page to check how he can add a widget onto the dashboard. Following the instructions of the FAQ, the user first clicks on the Add a Widget button. A pop-up will appear for the user to input the details of what he wants displayed. Hence, the user will input MyENV into the application field, hit rate into the metrics field, select bar graph in the type of representation, scroll to July to input 2nd July 2014 to 15 July 2014 as the date range, and MyENV hit rate 2nd July 2014 to 15 July 2014 into the header title. They will then click Add Metrics. The next user would now like to compare their application MyENV with another application that they have developed called MyTransport to find out which application is doing better and keep the two graphs in a single graph widget on the dashboard. The user first refers to the FAQ page to check how he can overlay more than one metric on a graph within the widget. Following the instructions of the FAQ, the user will have to click the Add Metric button and a pop-up will appear. Once again, the user will select MyTransport and will ensure that the metrics are hit rate for type of metrics and bar graph for type of representation. They will then click Add Metrics. The user feels that it will be better to track each graph in an individual widget. Hence, how to first go about doing that would be to remove the MyTransport graph that was last plotted. The user first refers to the FAQ page to check how he can remove a metric from a graph. Following the instructions of the FAQ, he has to click on any bar on the MyTransport graph and click on the Remove Add Metric button. After which, the next task will be to add the graph that was just deleted into a new widget. Hence, the user clicks the Add a Widget button again. This time, he inputs MyTransport into the Select Application field. Lastly, the user will enter the header title as MyTransport with hit rate 2nd July 2014 to 15 July 2014. Lastly, the user would like to place the graph with the hit rate for MyTransport in a more prominent place. Hence, the user would swap the graphs for MyTransport and MyENV. The user first refers to the FAQ page to check how he can swap the position of the widgets on the dashboard. Following the instructions of the FAQ, the user would first drag the widget containing the graph for MyTransport to the approximate location of the widget with MyENV. The widget containing MyENV would be displaced to the bottom. After which, the user would drag the widget containing the graph for MyENV to the original location of the widget containing the graph for MyTransport. Later, the user will realize that there is no longer a need for the MyENV widget and would hence need to delete this. To do this, the user would have to click on the cross locator on the top right-hand corner of the MyENV widget.